Hello, friends. Cattails ending the season. Little fuzzies. Show you what I've been working on last week. First of all, I did a rough pass through there. And if you see, we've got some nice specimens. Some pines, spruce over there. Just got to get them all cleared out. Nice spruce here. It's like the fish are coming up. So we're doing another little side pond over here. And my wife's idea was right here we can level this off. Maybe do a little park bench or something for people to be able to have the view of this pond and this pond. So hopefully this holds water. It starts raining, we'll see. But so this will all be bermed up here. Plant some stuff. Created another little path over there. And then we'll cut a path between this pine here and that cypress right there. Cypress. Kind of a meandering path through here. And over here, we've got a lot more plants in the ground now. And I've been cutting out more of this pond. Pushing over some of this clay that's on this end over to that side. Oh, I can get it sealed up a little bit tighter. You see that lighter colored gray is the better clay layer. And then right down there in the bottom you can see it's really thick. Kind of scrape that down a little bit. This is one of my favorite plantings so far. That's Picea pungens, the blues. It's a weeping blue spruce. That came from Stanley and Sons Nursery. Larry Stanley is the one that coined that one. Just a beautiful specimen. We use them quite often. Got some at the house. I think I've got 4 or 5 planted here so far. You see all the plantings over there, all through here. And today, I brought the mini excavator down here. Cut this through here. This berm did go all the way to here, but what I wanted to do is create better walking paths, and the drainage needs to be a little better on this end. So it was pulling up, so right here I did that same thing. I cut through that berm because it was pulling up in this corner and in that corner. So now, once we get this all completely filled in with wood mulch, you know, the water will hit these hills with rain and trickle down to these swells and just slowly percolate. I picture it like a coffee going through a coffee filter, just real slow. It'll come around here. The goal is to get about, a foot of wood mulch on these paths, so it'll hit here and then kind of meander this way all the time, soaking in sideways, because this will all be full of mulch as well. So it's mostly just going to be mulch and all these little rocks that we find. We're trying to save as many as we can, so they'll be more exposed. So that water will hit here, and it'll slowly come this way. When I dug these, the goal was to be on contour, but then it was just becoming too difficult to, make it around all these bends and weird angles that we were creating. So I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about. But it's kind of a balance of, we want nice meandering walking paths. It's kind of nice. You come around this corner here, and then it opens up to another room. And this kind of gives you an idea. So all the water that will come off this hill here, there's one of our new plantings that has passed. As the water comes off this hill, it's, like I said, it's just going to trickle down. There's a little bit of a pool right there, so that'll be even deeper, full of mulch. That just allows more ground penetration with the water. So, it comes down off of there, slowly comes down, slowly comes down. Then we've created these cutouts. You can see what water, this was all created, I want to say 3 years ago now. But you can see the erosion, that little ditch right there. And I had this pretty well smoothed out with a little bit of a lip on it, but the water's eroded. I don't know if it's hard to see with the camera, but through here, then you can see how it's ditched all through there and gone down there. And then when it hits down there, it's got to go that way. So I feel like we've got really good groundworks in place to really capture a lot of water. Slow it way down, and then let it just sit in the wood. You can see I also did that today. I spread all that out up here. I'll show you that. So it'll just sit there and percolate through, and then it'll hit the ground, the soil, and slowly percolate into that. And then, between rains, it'll just sit there and slowly seep in. And then the next rain comes and it'll all swell up like a sponge again. And then slowly seep in. So right here is a pretty good size ditch. So you can see what it looks like over on this side. So the idea is, like I said, we're trying to put about a foot and a half. There's a fruit tree that died. Anyway, a lot of young plantings. You can see what we're trying to do. Oh, here's another good example of that's all a swell. And then here's where I did the cutout. You can see how high the lip is on that cutout. 10 to 12 inches. So the idea is, you know, the water, even with all that wood mulch, will still slowly run, you know, this way, and come from this way, and then it has to still kind of pool up and then go through here. Like I say, it'll just seep, 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 seep. And if this entire hill is full of wood, I'm hoping that that pond, which fills up very nicely in the winter, will just stay full much later into the summer. If we could have it last the whole summer, that would be phenomenal. But this year it dried completely out. I want to say, yeah, no, it was about the end of June. So if we can get that, you know, well into August for next year, that'd be phenomenal. And I just showed you all the ducks that we've got up here. We've got 10 now up here. Still have 3 at the house I might bring up, but the idea is I'll go and feed them over there in this new pond. So they'll come over there often. And with their poop, it'll help seal up those leaky spots. So between that and then all of this biomass, it's just like I said, it's just gonna hold water, hold water, hold water. Hopefully that just percolates that pond all summer long. So still pretty rough looking, but you can get an idea of what we've got going on.